Imagine waking up before sunrise, not in a comfortable bed, but on a hard military camp floor. Your body is already exhausted, your feet are covered in blisters, and a Roman officer is shouting for you to stand up. You have barely slept, but there is no time to complain. You are a Roman recruit, and your training has only just begun. The Roman Empire became one of the most powerful civilizations in history, and its success depended heavily on its army. Roman soldiers were not simply handed a sword and sent into battle. They were trained repeatedly to march, fight, build fortifications, obey orders, and survive under brutal conditions. For a Roman recruit, military life was designed to transform an ordinary man into a disciplined soldier who could function as part of a highly organized fighting machine. When you first joined the army, one of the most important lessons was discipline. The Roman military demanded obedience because commanders needed thousands of soldiers to move and fight together. A soldier who ignored an order could endanger an entire unit. Training therefore began with learning to follow commands quickly and without hesitation. Recruits practiced standing in formation, marching together, turning as a group, and maintaining their position even when tired. This might sound simple, but imagine doing it for hours under the hot Mediterranean sun while carrying heavy equipment. The Roman army placed enormous importance on physical conditioning. Recruits marched long distances carrying their weapons, armor, food, and other equipment. A soldier was expected to remain mobile even when roads were poor or non-existent. Marching was not only about reaching a battlefield. Roman armies often had to travel hundreds of kilometers through difficult terrain, and soldiers needed enough strength to arrive ready to fight. Recruits also practiced running, jumping, climbing, and other exercises designed to improve endurance and strength. The goal was simple: a Roman soldier needed a body capable of surviving military life. One of the most important parts of training involved learning how to use weapons. The famous Roman sword, the gladius, became closely associated with Roman infantry. Recruits practiced attacking targets repeatedly until movements became almost automatic. Instead of simply swinging a sword wildly, soldiers were taught controlled techniques that could be used effectively in close combat. They also trained with shields, which were essential for Roman infantry. The large curved shield provided protection while allowing soldiers to fight at close range. Recruits learned how to hold the shield correctly, move while protecting themselves, and coordinate their movements with other soldiers. Training weapons were sometimes deliberately heavier than the real weapons. This made actual equipment feel easier to handle after recruits became accustomed to the additional weight. Soldiers also practiced throwing the pilum, the Roman heavy javelin. The pilum could disrupt an enemy formation before Roman infantry closed in for hand-to-hand combat. Recruits repeatedly practiced throwing it accurately and with enough force. Archery and other specialized skills were also important in different units, although not every Roman soldier received exactly the same training. The Roman army was made up of different types of troops, and their training could vary depending on their role. Cavalrymen needed to master horses and mounted combat, while specialized troops developed skills suited to their particular duties. But regardless of specialization, discipline and physical endurance remained central to military life. One of the most remarkable aspects of Roman military training was marching with equipment. A Roman soldier carried far more than a weapon. He needed food, clothing, tools, and other supplies. The army expected soldiers to carry their own equipment whenever possible. This meant that recruits had to become comfortable with heavy loads. Imagine marching for hours while carrying armor, a shield, weapons, water, food, and personal belongings. The purpose was not to make soldiers miserable for no reason. Roman commanders understood that armies that could move quickly had a major advantage. Training soldiers to march efficiently allowed Roman forces to cover large distances and establish camps rapidly. And that brings us to another skill that made Roman soldiers different: construction. Roman soldiers were not only fighters. They were also engineers and builders. During campaigns, soldiers could be ordered to construct fortified camps, roads, bridges, defensive walls, trenches, and other structures. Every evening after marching, a Roman army might establish a temporary camp. Soldiers would dig ditches, build defensive barriers, organize sleeping areas, and position guards. This meant that even after a long day of marching, the soldier's work was not finished. He might still have hours of construction ahead. Training therefore included the use of tools such as shovels, picks, axes, and other equipment. Soldiers learned how to work together quickly because a well-organized camp could protect an army from surprise attacks. Roman camps were often laid out according to organized plans, with designated areas for commanders, soldiers, supplies, and animals. This organization reflected the Roman military obsession with order. Another major part of training was formation fighting. Roman soldiers rarely fought as individuals. Their strength came from coordination. Recruits practiced maintaining ranks and keeping appropriate spacing between soldiers. If one soldier moved too far forward or another fell too far behind, the formation could become vulnerable. Soldiers therefore had to trust the men around them. They needed to know when to advance, when to stop, when to change formation, and when to retreat. The famous Roman military formations were effective because soldiers were trained to act collectively. In battle, fear could be overwhelming. Weapons were crashing against shields, men were shouting, arrows were flying, and formations were moving through dust and smoke. Training helped soldiers respond automatically instead of freezing under pressure. Roman commanders also understood that experience mattered. Soldiers practiced realistic combat exercises, sometimes fighting against training partners using protected weapons. These exercises allowed recruits to learn how to attack and defend without immediately facing the dangers of real battle. Training could be repetitive and exhausting because repetition created familiarity. A movement practiced hundreds of times became easier to perform when adrenaline and fear took over. But Roman military training was not only physical. Soldiers also learned military organization and communication. Roman armies were divided into structured units, each with officers responsible for leadership. Soldiers needed to recognize commands, signals, standards, and formations. The famous Roman standards carried by military units were symbols of identity and loyalty. Losing a standard could be considered a serious disgrace. Soldiers therefore learned to protect them during battle. Discipline extended into daily life. Soldiers were expected to maintain their equipment, keep weapons in good condition, follow camp rules, and obey their commanders. Neglecting equipment could have deadly consequences. A damaged shield or poorly maintained weapon could fail at exactly the moment a soldier needed it. Roman military discipline could also be extremely harsh. Punishments existed for serious offenses, and commanders could impose penalties when soldiers disobeyed orders or failed in their duties. The exact punishments varied by period and circumstance, but the underlying principle remained the same. The army could not function if every soldier acted according to personal preference. This strict discipline helped create cohesion across enormous armies. Food and daily routine were also part of military life. Soldiers needed enough energy to march and train, so armies organized supplies carefully. Grain was especially important, and soldiers could be required to prepare their own food. Military camps were places of constant activity. Some soldiers trained while others guarded the camp, repaired equipment, prepared food, or performed construction work. A Roman soldier's life was therefore far more than fighting. Much of his time was spent maintaining the army that allowed him to fight. The Roman military also developed a culture in which experience was highly valuable. Veteran soldiers could become instructors and leaders, passing knowledge to younger recruits. A new soldier might learn not only from formal exercises but also from men who had already survived campaigns. Veterans knew how to march efficiently, care for equipment, recognize danger, and remain calm under pressure. This created a cycle in which military knowledge could be passed from one generation of soldiers to another. The length and exact nature of training varied across Roman history. The army changed significantly over centuries, from the early Republic to the imperial period and later centuries. Recruitment systems, equipment, tactics, and unit structures evolved. Not every Roman soldier experienced exactly the same training. However, the basic emphasis on discipline, endurance, weapons practice, organization, and field skills remained important throughout much of Roman military history. Eventually, after enough training, the recruit was no longer simply a civilian wearing military equipment. He became part of a unit. His identity became connected to the men around him and the standards they carried. He learned that survival depended not only on his own strength but also on the discipline of the entire formation. This was one of the secrets behind Rome's military power. Rome did not build its armies simply by finding strong men. It built systems that turned large numbers of individuals into organized military units. A Roman soldier could march long distances, construct a fortified camp, operate as part of a formation, maintain his equipment, and fight under extreme pressure. Training prepared him for a world where exhaustion, hunger, fear, and uncertainty were normal. And when battle finally came, the soldier was expected to rely on everything he had practiced. The terrifying power of the Roman army was therefore not based on one weapon or one brilliant commander. It came from discipline repeated day after day. Every march, every shield exercise, every weapon drill, every camp construction project, and every exhausting routine prepared soldiers for the moment when training would become reality. The Roman Empire would eventually rise and fall, but for centuries its armies demonstrated how organization and discipline could transform ordinary recruits into one of the ancient world's most formidable military forces.